And good evening, Sword family, and welcome to the very first Teahouse of 2026. And yes, when I set up the StreamYard for this, I did originally put 2025 as the date, which is very much expected for probably at least the first month, if not longer, because that's always what happens. Thank you. So, as has become kind of tradition for the past couple of years, the first show is my AMA, my Ask Me Anything. And again, I know I've said this the past 2 weeks, but I do mean anything. We are going to answer whatever questions get thrown out at me. So if you have something that you want to know, if you have something that I haven't answered, or you feel like I haven't answered sufficiently, or you want more information on, go ahead and throw a question up in the chat and I will answer pretty much anything. And hopefully that will be enough to get me through my normal hour of streaming. So let's go ahead and get things started with comments. First through the door, as is becoming usual, at 4:35 is our own Foxy. Welcome to the New Year's AMA session. Be careful what you ask, because he probably will tell you. Think up some fun questions for our very own thesis. Yes. And Sarah is joining us second in line. Very good. Hey there, glad I looked up to see the notification of the show. We're glad to see you, Sarah. Foxy greeting Sarah, and Donna is joining us, greeting Foxy and Sarah. And then Carl has to pop in and ruin the hair of my head building, but it's all right. I'm not. Oh geez, selfish. That's the word. I'm not selfish. I will share my harem with other people. And Carl is greeting Foxy, Sarah, and Donna. There's the Witzman dude. Hope you've all brought fun questions. Oh my god. Usually if I have questions, I ask them in the green room. Well, we will make an exception for tonight. If you have something, hi pup. There's my co-star. There's my co-host. Get down, please. I don't need you pushing on my chair. If you have green room questions, just wait until later on, like the second half of things, to ask them, and then we can just, enjoy our green room questions. And Kitty is joining us. Evening all. Evening kitten. Greetings for Kitty, and more greetings for Kitty. And Sarah says hi. Mostly going to be listening while working on a project. Nice. I have a project too. I don't have all the pieces of said project, but I did with the Patreon money. The Saturday after Christmas, I did buy my spearhead trainer, and so possibly I might end up doing a build video where I take all of the different separate pieces of the spearhead, the haft, counterweight. I'm going to make a horsehair tassel. It's not going to be made out of horsehair. It's going to be made out of wax thread, basically yarn. But that might end up being one of the videos, is just doing a build video where I just put it all together so you can see what it's going to look like when it's done. No telling if it will stay that way. Hey, no worries. And Kitty says that she and Ruby have a couple of questions. Good. Be completely random. First one is favorite kind of noodles. Okay. So we're starting right off the bat. You know what? I can tell you right now that my least favorite are egg noodles. I hate those. I despise egg noodles. And I'm not really a big fan of like wide noodles. Like, I don't like lasagna. I like my noodles to be thin and long. Yes, I know. Hold on. Where's my media? There's my media. There you go. So, in that vein, a couple of months ago, back in October, the very beginning of the month of October, I did 10 days of trying new foods, things I'd never tried before. I did this for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, I think. And every day I would pick something that I've never tried before, and I would try it. And I found through that there is a particular Korean, I mean, it's a frozen dish. It's it's in the frozen section, but it's called japchae. And it uses a form of noodle called glass noodles. They are see-through noodles. They're transparent. And they originated in China, but they're used throughout Asia in noodle dishes. And they are noodles made from starches, like potato starch or sweet potato starch or tapioca and water. And I have found out through that, trying new things, that I really like this japchae dish. And it comes in, it uses glass noodles. And so I think, to answer that question, that my favorite kind of noodles are actually glass noodles. The first time you try them, the texture is kind of weird. They're very springy. And it's kind of odd the first time. But once you get past the texture thing, it's really, really good. But I also enjoy dandan noodles, which is a completely different dish. It is a Chinese noodle dish. And it comes from Szechuan cuisine. And it's kind of spicy. And the noodles that are in that are more like your traditional kind of like spaghetti noodle. And dandan noodles were originally made in like port cities, and it was a dish for the people that rowed the fishing boats. It was something that they could carry with them while carrying their pole and eat noodles while sitting on the boat waiting for people. So yeah, I enjoy dandan noodles, and I like japchae with glass noodles. So there you go. That's your first answer. Did someone say my name? Hello, everyone. Hello, Ruby. And greetings for Ruby, and greetings for Ruby. More greetings for Ruby. And Foxy startled the dog. Was sleeping and I patted his back. Must have been dreaming. Yeah, probably. Charcoal is playing our nightly game of I want up on your lap. Maybe, no, yes, perhaps, could be, kind of. Aw. Was looking away and looked back to see Foxy's last comment and thought she was. Well, I wasn't sleeping. I was sleeping earlier. I was sleeping about 2 hours ago. It's been really, really like overcast and kind of like misty raining all day long. Last night, actually, I'm going to try and see if I can show this because last night at like 1 o'clock in the morning, it was so foggy that you could barely see the other apartment building that's like right here. Let's see if I can get. That's the tree that's right outside that window, and you can barely see anything. That's how much fog was outside. There's another looking more that direction. So it's been like foggy and overcast all day long. And on days like that, it's difficult to just keep my eyes open half the time. So taking naps on these kind of days is just, it's good stuff. Foxy laughing and Carl laughing. They both good boys? No. Foxy giggles. Greetings for me. And there's our Twitch viewer, Midnight. Hey, sword people. Hello, Midnight. Here he comes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. All three done. Okay, this is an interesting question from Sarah. How did you get to be so comfortable in front of a camera? Did you do any work on stage to get here? Okay. Short answer. Practice. Practice, practice, and more practice. If you go back and watch some of my earlier streams, I'm not at all comfortable in front of the camera. Not even a little bit. They're pretty bad. The first few streams are honestly pretty terrible. And just as time goes on, you just get more and more comfortable talking to nobody. And that's just kind of how it goes. But there is a longer answer to this question. And the longer answer is yes. Actually, I have done some stage work. So, in third grade, so this would have been 1987, 1988, somewhere. We did a Christmas play. And for whatever reason, the director, which was like one of the third grade teachers, decided I was going to be one of the main characters of said play. And it was me and a girl who at the time was my girlfriend. I say girlfriend because it's third grade. You don't really, you'll hold hands underneath the lunch table, and that's about as far as things go in third grade. But me and her sitting basically at the edge of stage left in folding chairs. Okay. And the play, I was the conductor of the Christmas train. And let me tell you something. All these years later, okay, 30 plus years later, I can still remember the bright gold MC Hammer pants that I had to wear for this play and a red vest. And like the entire play was, I was conductor of the Christmas train, and she was, I don't even remember. But the whole play was going to different countries on the planet Earth and talking about Christmas traditions in that country. So that was the first one, 3rd grade. Oh, excuse me. Second one was probably around the same time. And the only reason I know this is because the same girl also was part of this story. My mother has a picture of me and this girl. Her name was Rachel. She was a blonde. When I was younger, I had a thing for blondes. It wasn't until I grew up and grew a brain that actually I figured out that redheads are more fun. Every girl that I dated from like 3rd grade through to basically just before this one was a blonde. So there's a picture of me and Rachel at Chuck E. Cheese after this play. But there's this program. I don't even know if it's still around. I honestly have no idea. But there's this program called OM, Odyssey of the Mind. And it is a national competition where, like, each state has to build a structure out of balsa wood. Okay? And this structure is tested by being put under a platform, and you put weight plates on top of it. And however much your structure holds, that's your score. The higher the weight, the higher the score, the better you do. I did this twice. My mother was kind of like the adult, I don't even know what you would call it, but she was like the person in charge. So, of course, because I'm her son, I was on the team. The first time, okay, while you're doing this, while you're doing the structure thing, it's kind of boring to just watch people take weights and put them on top of a structure. So you're also doing a play at the same time. And the structure is kind of done off to the side of the stage. So the first time was probably around the same time, 87, 88. And my part in the play, I had one line in the whole play, but I was on stage. And I was called the Gimme Gimme Bird. And it was basically, the play was going to a zoo on like an alien planet. And you were seeing all of these creatures from another planet. And I was the Gimme Gimme Bird, and I was the very first one. And they would walk past, and they had made cages, which was basically just like a rectangle of 2x4s that you could easily just climb in and out of. And they would walk past. And when the curator of this, zoo pointed at me, I would reach out to try and grab the person. Gimme, 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 gimme. That was the Gimme Gimme Bird. We didn't even make past state that year. The second year was in 1990, 90 or 91, one of the two. And this time, we actually made it to nationals in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that time, my play was just me. And I was dressed in overalls and a shovel and covered in basically black stage paint. And I was doing the song 16 Tons. Yeah. So, long answer is yes, I have done work on stage, but that was years ago. And that's if you don't count the 2 times that I actually have on this YouTube, on my YouTube channel, that I did martial arts forms also on stage, variety show and international days. But even those are years and years ago. So short answer, practice. Long answer, yes, I've done stage work, but practice. Just practice, practice. Practice is the answer. You get comfortable in front of a camera with practice. Sarah's laughing with the open-ended questions. I'll be good. Hey, you know what? We're almost halfway there, you know. Whatever help that does, I love you. Love you too, Sarah. Attempting to keep things at least YouTube friendly. For the most part, yeah. I mean, you know, if people really have things that they want to know that aren't exactly, you know, safe for work, we'll just use like code words or something like that, you know? We'll just use different phrasing. Why is there air? Well, you see, when the earth was first forming, air is there to breathe. It's really simple. The air was already, this is my opinion. I'm not a scientist. The air was already there. And we evolved to breathe the air that we had. The air is just, it's just there. Tempting is the operative word. Oh, yes. Especially since I don't have to just be in listening mode. No, you don't. You don't have to at all. And yep, there was the pupper. He's the pupper. Yes. Always sharing the harem. You know, that's actually a lot harder to say than you think it is. Sharing the harem. If you try and like say it quickly, it ends up coming out like Sharon. Sharon the heron. Keeping lips zipped. Both and hands on project. Nope. 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 We're just going to do this again. We're just going to do this again. Just nope. 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 That's just picked up charcoal and she was on my lap for a while. Now she jumped up on the printer and started. Oh boy. Hey, Dave. Yes, noodles. Noodles are awesome. I had actually had my my japchae glass noodles for lunch yesterday. I think they're really good. Greetings for Dave. Doesn't like egg noodles, only kind I know. And how, and I'm pretty. Well, see, here's the difference. Making noodles from eggs, I've done that. I have used a recipe to make noodles from eggs. So when I say egg noodles, I'm talking about, here, let me. See if I can find, because there's, most noodles are made from scratch. Or from eggs. From scratch. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm talking about a specific shape of noodles that you see in certain recipes. This is even the brand that my mother buys. So we will go ahead and just go ahead and share screen here so I can go ahead and add that to the stage. This is what I'm talking about. Wide egg pasta. This is what I'm talking about. Again, it's wide noodles. I hate it. I don't. And people use it in like chicken noodle soup and various other things. I don't like it. But if you're just talking about making noodles with eggs from a recipe, as long as the shape is right, that's fine. It's the shape that bothers me, not the actual noodles themselves. And more greetings for Dave. More greetings for Dave. And Dave greeting Donna, Carl, and friends. And Don is joining us. Hey, Don. Carl greeting Don. Donna greeting Don. Never heard of fog in desert climate. Yeah. Right now, it's actually pretty clear. But last night, it was bad. Like, literally, the building right beside us, we're facing this way. This building's, like, right here. I can almost open up that window with a long enough stick and touch that building. You could barely see it. It's incredibly rare, and it's really interesting when it does happen. Fairly rare, but it does happen. Exactly. It's like the only moisture that the Atacama Desert ever gets. Yeah. Yes, yes. Balloon pants, parachute pantaloons. Yes, exactly. And the really bad thing is they gave me an option, right? I could wear the costume all day long, or I could wear regular clothes and go to class, and then before each performance, I could come and change back into the hammer pants. And me being, 7 or 8 years old and dumb, just decided to wear the stupid MC Hammer pants the entire damn day. So all day long, I'm walking around in these bright gold parachute pants all day long. And the way that those plays were done is you did the play 3 times in one day. You did it in the morning for the kindergartners. You did it in the afternoon for the rest of the school. And you did it at night for the parents. So the director of said play decided that it would be a good idea to tell 3rd grade children that if anyone messes up a line, to shame them for it. Because, this person, this group of people is only going to get to see this play one time. So if you screw up a line, that's the only time. You're not going to get a second chance. So if someone screws up a line, if someone else screws up a line, you go ahead and you shame them for it. To 3rd graders. Are you kidding me? And out of 3 times, I messed up once. One time, the afternoon performance, I jumped ahead in the damn script. And after that, after we did the performance, we're walking back to class, and all my classmates are, good job, good job, good job. You kiss my ass. MC Hammer Christmas Train, yeah. I would much rather had, an Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train, but, Okay. What would you say to someone who is starting martial arts for the very first time? What would you say to someone starting over? Okay. I have actually answered this question more than once. So we'll start with the first question. What would you say to someone who is starting martial arts for the very first time? I am part of a couple of different martial arts subreddits. And people will actually ask a similar question to this all the time. They'll say, I am such and such age. I'm starting for the very first time. Am I too old? Am I too young? What kind of advice would you give? And basically, I give almost the same answer every single time. You're never too old to start. You're never too old to start over. You can be too young, however. You know, if you're not walking yet, probably don't start training martial arts or don't start training your child martial arts before they start walking. But, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through to 99, 100, age does not matter. The first thing that you need to figure out, the very first thing, is why. Why do you want to learn martial arts? Because the why is going to affect how you train, what you're training for. Find out why. Why are you doing this? And once you find out the why, then it's just a matter of finding the best path to get to that why. Now, there are certain reasons that people want to pick up martial arts that I personally would not be comfortable teaching them. You know, if someone's reason for learning martial arts is they just want to go out and kick ass, not happening. I'm not the teacher for you. You might be able to find somebody that can do that for you, but that person is not me. Just not. I know someone who shall remain nameless that was taking part in the Kung Fu classes that I was assistant instructor for at our local community college. And we were doing Mantis. We did Mantis in Kung Fu. We did Yang Simplified 24 in the Tai Chi class. The Tai Chi class, you learned just the Yang Simplified 24 for the entire semester. The Kung Fu class, people could learn, I think the most that one person did was 5 forms in 3 months. That is ridiculous. You're not retaining anything learning 5 forms in 3 months. It's just not. No, you're not actually learning anything. It's just repetition. Now, if that's what you want to do, you just want to learn forms, you just want to be able to perform for people, go for it. Learn as many of those as you can. But don't forget the ones that you learned in the past. Keep doing every single form that you learned, because that person who learned 5 in 3 months, by the time they were learning their 5th one, they couldn't remember the first 3. They could not remember the movements of the form. But anyway, there was a person that complained to me, to the assistant instructor, because they didn't think that the actual instructor would take their criticism well, so they complained to me. And they came up to me and they said, why are we doing this? Why are we just learning, these movements? It's useless. That was a direct quote. I still remember this years later. This was like 16 plus years ago. And they said, it's useless. They literally said, I want to learn a martial art where I can walk into class on day 1 and leave at the end of class and kick someone's ass. You know what? That doesn't exist. This is not an anime. You don't get to kick ass level after 1 class. It just doesn't happen. That's impossible. So find out why they want to learn. If they just want to learn forms, okay. The structure of how I'm going to teach you is going to be completely different. If you want to have more confidence, again, the structure is going to be completely different. If you were bullied as a child and you want, I don't want to use confidence again, but you want to feel like you have the strength now to be able to stop that from happening, to someone else. Again, the structure is going to change. So that's always number one, is why. When I am teaching someone, I don't just teach them forms. I do teach forms, some of them. But I also teach philosophy behind. And that's where the why comes from, is philosophy. Because philosophy is literally just asking why over and over and over again. So when I have a student, not only are they learning forms, they're learning application of the movements of the form, and they're learning philosophy. So if someone is starting for the very first time, they've never done any martial arts in their life. They're literally starting at zero. Because contrary to what someone else has said, there are people that start at zero. There are people who have zero martial arts training. They have zero idea in their head of what martial arts can and should be. Someone starting at zero, very first time, age does not matter. As long as they're, not too young. Age doesn't matter, just why. Why do you want to learn martial arts? And this is not just about Chinese martial arts. This is about martial arts in general. European martial arts, Chinese, Japanese, Laotian, doesn't matter. Find out why. Once you know the why, you can tailor your training style to that why. Now, the second question about someone starting over for the first time. Again, I have answered this question on the subreddit also. And I will bring up my own experience. Because I had to start over. After my hip surgery, having a total hip replacement, you have to start over at the base, at the bottom, at the very beginning. Because your base, your stances, that is stage one. That's the very beginning of martial arts. Your base, your root is what everything else is based off of. So what I tell people when they ask me about starting over is that, in my opinion, to me, starting over is actually harder than starting the first time. Because however long you were going before, starting over, you know what you were capable of before. So starting over is harder because you know what you can do and you know what you can't do. And so starting over at the beginning is harder. And this is from my own personal experience. Because I knew what I could do before my hip surgery. I knew how deep my stances could go, how low I could go, how high I could go, how long I could hold one position for. And I couldn't do any of that anymore. I had to start completely over again. And it was difficult Because in my mind, I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I can get this low on the ground. I can twist this far. I can hold my leg up for this long. And I couldn't do a damn thing of that when I had to start over again. I know I've told this story before, but this time it's very pertinent to this question. So, one of the first things that I asked my orthopedic surgeon after my hip surgery, actually, it was the first question that she asked because I didn't think to ask it, was how long I had to wait before I could get back to martial arts training. And he told me like 6 to 9 months, and that crushed me. That was just painful to hear. And then I started physical therapy, and my physical therapist said, between 4 and 7 months. And again, I was like, that's terrible. That's awful. But after a few sessions of physical therapy, I kept being told that I'm doing really well. I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. I'm doing better than most people. So, right here in my living room, big old empty spot right here. It's a big empty area. It's where I do a lot of my practicing. Well, not a lot because it's still a limited amount of space, but this is where I do some of my stuff. And I'm thinking, it's been, I don't know, 2.5, 3 months by this point. So it was like early summer by this point. And I'm thinking, you know what? I'm doing good. I'm doing all of my exercises that I'm supposed to do. I'm going to try something simple. Simple. So I'm like, I'm going to try doing Bagua circle walking. If you've never seen Bagua circle walking, it's exactly what it sounds like. You stand with your feet facing the same direction, and you walk around in a circle. It sounds really, really easy. It's not. It's not as easy as you think. Because you're not exactly stepping to walk. You're more sliding. You're not really picking your feet up. You're sliding your foot forward and sliding the other foot. I took 2, maybe 3 steps and dropped like a stone. Just collapsed. And she had to come from the back bedroom and pick me up and put me on that couch right there because I could not stand up. My legs just gave out on me. And this is because this question right here. Starting over, I was thinking, this is easy and I'm doing well and I'm on track. So let's try this. Nope. So to try and compress this answer, starting over, take it slow. Don't try not to worry about what you could do before, because that's always going to be in the back of your mind. I could do this. I could do that. Try not to think about that. Focus on right now, what you can do right now, and do it. And do it as much as you can. Do it as often as you can. But don't try to do more than you're able to do. And eventually, you'll get to a point where you will not be where you were before. You will not be there. But you'll be close. It's been like 3.5 years since my hip replacement, since my surgery. And I am not even close to where I was before that happened. But I have improved an immense deal. And depending on what you're doing, because like a lot of the people that are starting over that I talk to on that subreddit, they're either picking martial arts back up after an extended period of time, or they're going from one martial art to another one. And if you're changing styles, the first thing you need to do is completely forget everything you learned in the previous style. Because if you're changing styles, then change styles. Don't try and incorporate what you learned over here into this new one over here. Not at the beginning. Eventually, you might be able to incorporate what you learned from this style and this style into a completely separate style. But at the very beginning, just learn the new style. Start over at 0. And that's more difficult when you already have something in the past. It's more difficult because you do already have something that you did do before. So, what would I say to someone starting for the first time? Ask why. And then you can build from that. What would I say about someone starting over? Go slowly and focus on the current thing that you're doing. And that was a very long answer, but hopefully Dawn laughing, totally get the repeated nopes. Yeah, I get a lot of nopes. I get a lot of nopes because sometimes one nope is not enough. Sometimes you need a barrage of nopes. And yes, greetings. And Dan is joining us. Finally had to shut the office door because the dog is driving Lynn crazy. I'm sorry. That's horrible. Uh-oh, yeah. Yeah, see, don't like big noodles and chicken soup or carrot. I don't mind carrots as long as they're cooked properly. Make thin egg noodles from eggs, flour, and water. Yeah, we've done that. There's right over there. That's a KitchenAid. That was my mother's old one. She got a new one. It's red. I'm jealous. That's white. I hate it. But there's actually an attachment that you can put on the front of that for making noodles. And one time, a few years ago, I made my stir fry with my teriyaki that I posted last week or a couple weeks ago. I made a stir fry from scratch. I made the teriyaki sauce, made the noodles. The vegetables were frozen, but still, come on. Making those noodles was a damn all-day job. I think it was kind of fun. Sarah, get some sleep. Not much sleep after another shift of, no elevator. Have a great rest of your show. Love you bunches. Love you too, Sarah. Good night. I know you're probably already long gone by now, but sleep well, Sarah. Night, Sarah. Parachute pants for the shiznit. That was... You know what? I'm actually curious now. I actually have to look this up because my musical knowledge is failing me, and I feel bad for it. I really shouldn't be... That's what I thought. You Can't Touch This came out in 1990. This was 87 or 88. So this was even before Hammer Pants. At least 2 or 3 years before parachute pants were a thing. Can't decide if I'm cold or hot. I got my heater on because, yeah. Night, lovelies. Off to my crypt for a few hours. I hope you get some actual sleep. Teacher with the shaming should have been shamed. Yeah, I know. This is children. This is third graders. And you're telling them to shame their classmates for forgetting lines in a play that no one cares about. One time out of 3, I made one mistake. Actually, you know what? Going back to that stage question, I actually forgot another time that I was up on stage. I took a criminal justice class in like 8th grade. And we ended up doing a courtroom scene twice. The first time, I was a witness. The case was basically, I was a stepfather, and my stepson had taken my gun. Yeah, I'm going to own a gun. Really? And shot a friend. And I was a witness for the defense. I learned all of my lines in one night. The second time, I was on the prosecution side. Once again, learned all of my lines in one night. But the problem is, I only knew the lines from my side. So whatever questions the other side asked, I had no idea where they were going. So I didn't know what to say. So I just had to go based on, my knowledge of the case. So that was another time I was actually on stage, but I was actually in a courtroom. That was kind of fun, actually, though. I kind of enjoyed that. Had many teachers like that? Yeah, I know. Teacher should have been banned. You're not wrong. 4th grade teacher who made me cry in class, but threatened me with a felony for fudging my mom's signature on a spelling test. Ouch. Yikes, yeah. Don't hold a grudge. I still hold a grudge over my 8th grade English teacher. So, yeah. No, absolutely not. Not even going there. No. Nope. Not a fan. Never been a fan. Never will be a fan. Chuck Norris is a douche. The stupid Chuck Norris jokes just piss me off. Probably gone by now, so you win. Yeah, that's the thing. Every time I go back to my elementary school, the entire faculty is brand new. Every single teacher that I ever had at that school is retired or dead. So I go back there, it's like, wow. Hope so, yeah. Hateful 1st grade teacher, but that's a green room story. Yeah. Someone just wants to be a better bully. I doubt many honest and honorable will want to teach them anything. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. There are still a lot of John Creases in the world. And if you don't get that reference, look it up. John Kreese, Terry Silver, look it up. Imagine that it could be frustrating to start over knowing things in your head, but your body won't do it. Absolutely. Yep, 100%, Carl. Like I said, circle walking, easy. You don't realize how much you use your hip until you can't use your hip. And that's called a mindfuck. Yep. Yes, I said the actual word. It's almost an hour in. If YouTube is going to ding me, they would have dinged me a while ago when I said asshole. That's the grief stage of disability. You were lucky that it was temporary. Temporary-ish. I'm still dealing with it from time to time. There are still things that I can't do that I could do before. Glad for his sake it was temporary. So am I. If I actually couldn't, I mean, I could still work on upper body, and I still did that. But, your legs are your root. That's the base. So if your root is rotten, anything else you do is not going to matter. Could think she could pick me up? Yeah. Otherwise, I would have just laid on the floor. Told it would be a year for my neck to fuse. A few months later, diagnosed with IC. So I had to double start over, and I don't. Ouch. Hugs for Dawn. Yes. More hugs for Dawn and hugs for Dawn. What was what I had to counsel folks for in rehab when you would never get back to where they were? Yeah. Exactly. Jesus, right. Know that my condition won't just get better either. Mostly come to terms with it. Yeah. After Donna's accident, could barely walk, much less dance. Had to face the fact that I'll never dance as long or as athletically as I used to. That was hard. See, that's exactly what I meant. Starting the first time is easier than starting over. Starting over, you know what you're capable of or what you were capable of. After that, it's like, I used to be able to do this. Why can't I do it now? Why can't I do the things that I used to be able to do? Because you can't. Used to be able to kick over my head. Can't even kick now. Yeah. There's a particular stance in the Yang 24. And it is, I'm going to look this up because there is a name for it. But it's basically dipping down, crossing your arms, pushing out, and raising up one leg and just standing there. At one time, I could actually have my ankle sitting at actually above the level of my wrist when I did that stance. You know, it's cross and out. Now, depending on which side I'm doing and which pants I'm wearing, that actually makes a difference too. I can get about chest sometimes. With my left leg, with the bad hip, I'm lucky to get waist high. No, not that one, not the cross leg. It's I'm gonna find, because it has a name. You're thinking of just the sitting cross-legged stance. That one's not. I can still kind of do that. What that needle at sea bottom is not that early in the form? What are you talking about? Yeah. No. Golden Rooster is just a stance. Never could, don't have the balance for it. Yeah. Never been able to stand fully on just left leg since that knee got broken. That would do it. That would do it. I'm just going to show you because I can't actually find my document that has all of the names of all the movements on it. So I want a specific video. And it's not going to give it to me. Of course not. Quiet. See if I can find. That's Repulsed Monkey. So we got to be getting close. Yeah, broken knees are not fun. And that's Repulse Monkey. And it's not Golden Rooster either. Golden Rooster's easy for me. I mean, it's easy for me anyway. It's not terribly difficult anymore. See if I can find a picture of that one so you can see what she's talking about. Yes, I know this is completely friggin' dead air, but that's single whip. That's Cloud Hands. Then single whip again. High pad on horse. That's it. That's it. It's right after high pad on horse, I think. Can manage it, just not for very long or very gracefully. Yeah, no. Not easy for me. Hip screams at it. Yeah. On a side quest. Well, yeah, kind of. Munsey friend in Malaysia could use Repulse Monkey. Game of Monkeys kept him from capturing a Munsey. They claimed his lamppost as their territory. Telling people about it on a podcast. And yeah, that would definitely. All right, so we're going to go ahead and share screen again. I'm pretty sure this is it right here. So it's right after high pad on horse. See there. Yep. That's it. Now notice that the tip of his toe is touching the palm of his, and then he kind of goes into Golden Rooster. Yeah, that's the one. Let's go ahead and come back here. That's the end of single whip. That's high pad on horse. And now his hands cross, dip down, cross again, and open and kick. So that stands right there. That's the one. I used to be able to have the tip of my toe touch the palm of my hand on both. Now I'm lucky if I can get up to basically where he's at right now with my bad leg. Can't kick your hand. Yeah. You notice his knee is bent, though. His knee is bent. If we back it up a little bit, it's not. It's actually, he's kind of hyperextended his knee there. Doubt I could do that in my youth. I could. I absolutely could do that. Let me go back and show Repulse Monkey. I might have gone too far. Or not far enough. I think I didn't go. And this should be playing the lute. Nope, he still has one more. Play the lute. Now this is Repulse Monkey. Step back. And step back again. He's going to do this 4 times. There's 3. And 4. And hold the ball. Yep. So yeah, that stance, just because I used to be able to do it before, it's like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. No, you can't. And now you get to see what Golden Rooster stands on one leg looks like. Golden Rooster I can do. That's not difficult because you're just kind of at a right angle with your knee. You don't have to lift your head. You don't have to use your hip that much for Golden Rooster. That's Golden Rooster stands on one leg. That is one of the more advanced wushu stances. I plan on doing a video on the basic 5 wushu stances and then advanced ones. That's going to be a short form video. Maybe this spring, we'll see. So now the key is to concentrate on what you can do. Absolutely. I can circle walk now. If I change direction too quickly, it's bad. It hurts, but I can still do it. I probably shouldn't, but I can. Yes. Sometimes have to remind each other. That part is true. All right, guys. We're hour and 10. I'm not seeing any other questions. I appreciate the questions that were asked. I really enjoyed this. I will be back on Monday for another Nine Dragons play stream. More League of Beggars for a little while. Possibly Wednesday Creative to Play over on NDCD. If I have all my pieces for my new spear, I might do things over there, or I might just make a separate short form video just myself. And I will be back here next Saturday. I plan on doing some more martial arts content this month because, like, the past 3 months since October have been mostly about folk heroes, with the exception of that one video where I did the mask changing thing before Halloween. So I plan on doing more martial arts content this month. And I really look forward to seeing everyone next time. Good show. Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Good show. Thank you. Good show as always. Thank you, Joe. Special shout out, as always, to my patrons, Dan Hollifield, Carl Witzman, Rich Asplin Jr., Joe and Trelena Bachman. You guys are awesome. Because of you that I have that spearhead. It's a couple hours away from me right now. The expected delivery is Tuesday. I'm hoping it'll get here on Monday. We'll see. Have a great night, all. You too, Don. Night, everyone. Good night, Donna. Have a lovely night, everyone, and focus on what you can do. That is very good advice. I look forward to seeing you all on Monday, on Wednesday, on next Saturday. And I will see everyone next time. night from midnight over on Twitch. And good night from Kitty. I will see you all next time. 再见。